Continuing our 3-round mock draft series with the AFC West, Max Chadwick alongside Dalton Wasserman here, doing the Las Vegas Raiders at number 6 overall after finishing with a 4-13 record this year. Again, a 3-round mock draft for the Raiders using PFF's Mock Draft Simulator that you could find at PFF.com. You can trade players and trade picks in that mock draft simulator. You could do 1 round, a full 7 rounds if you wanted to. You can control every team or just one team as well. So again, at subscribe.pff.com to get full access to our 2025 NFL mock draft simulator. All right, number 6 overall, the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's see who is available in this 3-round mock draft. We got 4 picks to make, Dalton, here in this 3-round mock draft for the Raiders. At number 6 overall, so it looks like Shedeur Sanders is available here. Now, do we want to take him, or do we think that's kind of unrealistic of how the draft's going to go?
If he was there, this would absolutely be the pick. But for the sake of realism, do we think for sure he's going at least in the top 3? Because, like, right there, the scenario is the Browns and Giants both pass. Do we think that's realistic?
I don't think the Giants will pass.
I don't think so either. I think the Giants need a quarterback as much as anybody in this draft. I don't think you would get both. I could see the Browns passing because I don't think their team is ready for a rookie quarterback. Their roster, I don't know how they'd be set up to succeed, but I don't see the Giants passing one of the 2 quarterbacks if they can get them.
And I just want to remind people, so there's probably people be like, well, okay, well, why, if your mock draft simulator is not realistic, why are we even looking at this right now? We are going to be incorporating consensus boards into this mock draft simulator very, very soon, which will help it become more realistic, because right now the mock draft simulator works off of Trevor Sikkema's big board, and he's a little bit lower on the quarterbacks right now, which is why they're not going high in the computer-generated mock draft simulator. But once we get consensus boards in there, then it'll probably be more realistic, and Shedeur Sanders, I'm sure, will be going at least in the top 3 picks of the NFL draft pretty much every single time you do a mock draft simulator at PFF. So that's why we're kind of talking about the realism sake of it right now. I mean, we could take him at number 6 overall. I don't think that'd be horrendous, but I don't know. It's just a question of what you want to do here.
Well, we're building scenarios. If we think the likely scenario is a quarterback won't be there, then you're talking about, okay, what are their other weaknesses? I think the clear ones are, 1, running back, and there is a primetime running back sitting right there that we could take at this spot. Gutsy maybe to take him 6 overall, but if there's any back,
really high.
If there's any back who might be worth it, it might be Ashton Jinty. The other thing for me is coverage, and I maybe would have gone with Will Johnson here had he not gone to the pick at number 5 at Jacksonville right before us. So that Will Johnson might have been my pick here had he been on the board. Right now, if I were taking anything and we're not going quarterback and I'm leaning into maybe what the Raiders' weaknesses are, and I do think his talent justifies it as much as any back we've seen recently, I might go Ashton Jinty here.
All right, we can go Ashton Jinty. I don't love it. I think this is very high for a running back to go, but the fact that Travis Hunter's off the board, the fact that Will Johnson's off the board, and the fact that Tedder McMillan is off the board as well. That's just the 3 guys I would have gone for other than a quarterback for Las Vegas. So for realism's sake, we're passing on Shedeur Sanders because we don't think he'll be here at number 6 overall. That's who we would have picked, though, if he actually was here. But we'll go with Ashton Jinty here in the first round. All right. Second round of this mock draft. Now I think we have to attack the secondary if we can, because you mentioned the coverage grade, I believe, is the worst over the last 5 years for PFF. So it's a really bad secondary right now. I don't really see too many secondary players. I mean, Darian Porter would be an interesting guy in there. Xavier Watts could help out at safety.
Yeah, I think the hard part to predict as far as what type of players that Vegas might want is we have no idea who their coach is. Also, we don't know what the schemes are. We have no idea what it's going to look like. So if we're going secondary, I think we just take a talented guy, whether that's Watts or Porter, or we could take a receiver here. We could go with an Alec Iamaner or Restrepo, somebody to fill in, because they really don't have a number 1 receiver right now. You've got Brock Bowers at tight end. Jacoby Myers is definitely more of a second option. So you could fill out at receiver, or you could go in the secondary, and I think either one would be a good option.
Yeah, I like Alec Iamaner. I think that'd be a little high for Restrepo personally for me, but I like Iamaner here if we want to go receiver. I didn't love how the cornerback board shook out for us there. So yeah, let's go Alec Iamaner. We're attacking the offense here, which I know a lot of Raiders fans probably want to attack the defense, but it's just how the board's falling to us right now. All right, third round now, I believe. Yeah, third round now for the Las Vegas Raiders. Kevin Winston Jr. stands out to me. Zy Alexander, again, if you're running like a press coverage scheme and we just don't really know where they're going to be running just yet, that's a guy that could stand out to me as well. Maxwell Harrison's a decent player. What do you think here for the Raiders?
I think if you're looking for value and you believe he can recover from the injury, I think Kevin Winston makes a lot of sense. They have to raise the floor on this secondary, and he's a terrific tackler. He knows where to be at all times in coverage. You can really just ignore the 2024 stuff because he barely played it all, right?
Yeah.
I think this is a high floor player that, I think if he's not the best ball hawk in this draft, and I think that's in part because he's always so in the right spot that the ball just doesn't get thrown in his direction very often. We saw it. If you're looking at 2023 tape, Winston might be the second best safety in this entire draft.
Yeah.
It's because of the injury that he could fall to this spot. And I think if he did fall to this spot for the Raiders, that's who I would take right here.
Yeah, I like Kevin Winston Jr. He's a guy that could have been a first-round pick in the NFL draft if he kept up, if he stayed at the same level as his 2023 tape. And unfortunately, had that partially torn ACL that kept him out of all but 2 games this year. I like him a lot. Yeah, I kind of like this at number 68. And then we have another pick at 73, Dalton. I kind of have a player in mind if he's still here. I didn't see him initially. If Azareye'h Thomas is still here, that's a guy I really, really like. In this cornerback class. I don't know if Eli, if you could see if there he is right there.
There he is there. I mean, another one where, a little bit like Zy Alexander, part of it would depend on who your defensive coordinator is and how you're going to run your defense.
No, it's got to be like a press scheme.
Another fantastic man coverage corner, I think, right alongside Alexander. On the right team, say a heavy man coverage team like a Minnesota, or we'll see where the Jets go, maybe with Aaron Glenn, I think he'd be a really good fit. Just that this is the part where the variability in not having any coaching staff in place yet since they whiffed on Ben Johnson. We don't know what type of schemes are going to be running on either side of the ball. So the best thing we can do here is go just based on talent. If you think he's the most talented guy and that's the guy you'd want around, this team needs coverage help in any way possible. And any smart defensive coordinator is going to adjust it to his players' strengths too.
Absolutely. I think Azareye'h Thomas, talent-wise, might end up being maybe a top 5 corner for me in the draft, if not right outside the top 5. So I think this is insane value at 73 overall if you want to go with him.
I could go with anything that helps this secondary. I could agree with anything. Corner, safety, even at linebacker, they need coverage. They need coverage help across the board, and they won't get better until they get it. So I think Thomas is a very good pick.
I'll tell you right now, Travis Hunter, Will Johnson, Ben Morrison, Jahdae Barron, those guys are going to be above Azareye'h Thomas on my final big board, but Thomas might be the next guy after that.
I know you like him a lot, and he's very well taught from Florida State. I know they had a rough year this year, but another critical piece of last year's Florida State defense where we've already seen so many NFL players succeed. Jerrion Jones, Renardo Greed just out of the secondary. Obviously, Verse and Fisk up front. I think Thomas, it's a good pick. I mean, they just need talent in their secondary.
All right, let's do it. Azareye'h Thomas to round out this 3-round mock draft for the Las Vegas Raiders. Just to remind people what we did in this 3-round mock draft. Ashton Jeanty, Alec Ayamaner, Kevin Winston Jr., and Azareye'h Thomas. Obviously not a quarterback would be selected in this mock draft, but maybe they figured out with some free agent or something like that and try to get a placeholder and then maybe attack it in 2026 NFL
maybe
draft.
A Sam Darnold destination?
Maybe.
Possibly. That's the name that sticks out on that front.
Possibly, yeah. So that's what we did for the Las Vegas Raiders in this 3-round mock draft. Let us know in the comments below what you would do for the Raiders in a 3-round mock draft. And, of course, stay tuned for more mock drafts coming soon in the AFC West.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below, so if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can become one today.